So the videos are going to be a little bit shorter, but I'm going to try and make them more entertaining, I guess, but it can't be that long. Too much work. So trying not to talk too much in the morning because the guy that lives next to me has kind of a late shift, so I don't want to wake him up this early. See you in the gym, bitch. The fuck is popping? So I just kind of had an important thought. So we're planning on doing web development, obviously, with a bit of like social media marketing, but I had a bit of thought and it's like, you know, everyone has a website. Not too many people have an app. And apps are actually a lot easier to develop than websites for the reason that you don't have to code in 3 different languages. So I think apps are a really good way to start out. You know, I can change, like, do what I want, I guess, but the biggest thing is bigger market, because just about everybody has a website. It's easier to tell somebody that doesn't have something that they need it than try and convince somebody that already has a website that they need a better one. So that's kind of the thought process behind it. And the other thing is, I want to be working with people like myself, right? And it's really tough with business owners. They have a million things on their mind. So what I've come up with is, approaching content creators. So these are people that, have a big following on social media, are producing like their own course, which is essentially what I'm going after, or they have some type of product, right? Whether it's an e-commerce store, but I think they're going to be the really good people to talk to because I think we have a lot in common. And take people that have a course, for example. So maybe they're selling a course on how to make money or whatever it is, right? So I'll contact them. And the 2 things that apps have over websites is, one, you have unlimited push notifications. So instead of paying for ads every time you want to sell a product, so let's say you launch a new shirt on your e-commerce store, instead of having to run ads to promote your product, paying money every time to get people to get it out there, unless you have a really big following, you just send a push notification to your app and it always shows up on their phone. So it's a very high conversion type of promotion. The second thing is purchases. So if you have a store in a mobile app, they don't have to enter all their contact info. Sure, maybe shipping, but likely if they signed up, they already did that. You literally just double click your home button with in-app purchases and pay for your item, right? So it's a lot, converts a lot better. And subscriptions, of course. So I also think it's better to focus on one thing. So app development over 4 different things, 4 categories, which is what I was trying to do before. They always say specialize in one thing, and sure, maybe you have a niche where you specialize in scaling a business, so you have this entire process that you have to build out for the client, but I think it's a lot easier to start with one individual thing, and then you can focus on really perfecting it. Plus, mobile apps are worth so much more. if you've ever been into Shopify, they probably pushed ads to you about Tapcart. So it's one of their partner companies, I think. And basically this is a service that converts your e-commerce store, so your Shopify store, into a mobile app. So you have access to, I guess they have some sort of API where you can push notifications directly from their website. It's really user-friendly. Like, so you drag and drop to create your app. You still have to buy a Apple developer membership and upload that yourself, but it makes it a lot easier with hosting and stuff. So I got the prices. They charge anywhere from $299 per month just for the hosting and using their service to $1,200 per month. So that just puts a, you know, they are a very mainstream company, I guess. So that is a great price point to anchor to. So, you know, even a guy could, if you didn't know how to build apps, you could probably use Tapcart, you know, find a content creator building an app for them, and then just sign up for Tapcart yourself, mark it up a little bit, so a little bit of arbitrage, and build the app yourself. It's like a drag and drop editor, I think, and then you could be you just manage it for them for so much a month, right? So that's kind of the plan. Obviously, I've been behind a little bit because it takes a long time to, you know, even I think 4 days to formulate an entire foundation and plan for what I want to do is a really good time frame because everything builds on top of this, right? So we start out with that, and so app development. Our target niche is going to be content creators that already have a course or some type of product or service they're selling. You know, it can be anything. It can be t-shirts, it could be a Kajabi course, it could be maybe they're in the film niche, like video and stuff, and they sell like LUTs or filters. You know, it could be anything that they can charge money for. And the premise that we're selling on is, you know, there's two main things. I'm obviously going to find more, going to do a bit of research, but one is the push notifications. You know, it's instant free promotions once they have the app, and in-app purchases convert, I don't know how much higher, it's like 200% higher than a website. So now reaching out to social media influencers means I'm going to have to use social media, which means I'm also going to be kind of limited to my bandwidth per day. So I might not, you know, book a meeting today. I can only send like 50 to 100 messages per day. You probably get about 10% of those are going to respond. So that's going to put me at, I don't fucking know, like 5 to 10 messages maybe, and lots are going to be no, because people have other things to do and they're not interested. And if you got a social media following that big, you're probably already making money, and people don't, unless they're hustlers, they probably don't care about another sales channel because they're well enough off. You know, it's kind of the same thing as, I'm sure you've experienced, I've experienced as well. You know, you get in a really good situation where you have all these things and it's easy to just relax and do nothing. So it might be tough. I don't know. We got to try it. You know, you never know without trying. I haven't tried this before. So if it fails, change direction and try something else. But I have a really good feeling that content creators are going to see the benefit of having an app, and then it's just a matter of anchoring the price and making it valuable enough to them for them to want to purchase, and, you know, closing the deal. So I know I've said I was going to do the notes for the last 2 days, but I've honestly been working so hard on perfecting the foundation that I haven't really got to that yet. But that's, we're 100% going to get to that today. I'm going to figure out a new pricing package and what I want to do with that. Go over how to set that stuff up, so I'll review the notes. If you haven't watched the notes, if you haven't read the notes from yesterday and the day before, you need to go check those out. That's probably the most value out of all of this. Is, I don't know how much, it's like 20,000 characters I typed out yesterday. And even if you want to do social media marketing and websites, you know, I think that's a little bit of a saturated niche for what I want to do and the time frame that I'm in. But if you want to do that and that's what you enjoy, I think the template that I laid out is perfect. So, or a great start anyways. So definitely check that out. I think the notes are going to be a little bit lighter today. I'm going to have probably a framework for what I want to do, the things that I've updated about the app and stuff. So we're going to figure that out. We're going to get everything finalized in terms of app and pricing and product and packages. I might do a little bit more research, so like courses and stuff on how to sell people in this specific niche. And then I think reaching out is going to be the most effective thing, is going to be voice messages. You know, people receive, I don't know, me at least, I receive probably 1 or 2 of those ambassadors or influencer TMs a week. And essentially it's marketing, right? It's people creating fake Instagram accounts, sending out messages to people on a bot, which I've tried, but you know, you gotta have multiple Instagram accounts or you're gonna get blocked. Sending out these messages in hopes of, you know, selling a product, or in the ambassador case, getting you to sign up as a ambassador or influencer, but really all you're doing is being an affiliate and selling their product for them for a bit cheaper. And you know, this works for some people if you have, like I said, if you have multiple Instagram accounts and you're not worried about getting banned, because people will sign up. Like I know many people that have, you know, they share a post or sign up as an influencer and then try to sell their product to their following, which obviously requires a little bit of, you know, people don't see the purpose behind it, and they don't see, you know, hey, this person's just trying to make money off of me. If you believe in the product, whatever, sell it, but you gotta realize that the money's not there in these affiliate programs. You need to be doing something yourself, unless you're really good at affiliate marketing. I don't know, kind of went on a tangent there, but like I said, I think reaching out via voice messages is going to be the most effective outreach method. So I'm gonna keep doing that. Be like, hey, you know, I'm not sure what I'm gonna say yet, and then ultimately book a meeting, go through the framework and the, you know, the meeting agenda that I've set, and yeah, I guess that's kind of the goal, right? So the thing with apps, like I said, you have such a high base price, because 9 out of 10 businesses, I would say probably even more, have websites, even if it's a really shitty website. Everybody that's trying to get into this niche is selling websites, whether it's a shitty one or a really good one. And you know, businesses have that, but they don't have apps. Probably, I would say, probably 1 out of 50, including all the small businesses. So larger businesses, it might be a larger number, but don't have apps, you know what I mean? So it's something that's in demand, and it's way less saturated, higher price. I have a niche that I can relate to and I can probably communicate well with, and it's easier to do, I would say. You know, you don't have multiple different aspects to the app usually, besides like a database, a server. But you know, if they have a website already, they likely have that, and if they don't, then I would probably just use TapCard and upsell them on that, or mark it up. So it's kind of the plan. I know it's kind of a little bit of a spiel, but you know, I thought I'd get my thoughts out, and that's kind of the plan for today. So notes, I finished the notes for today. Yesterday's gonna be pretty empty because I got a lot done, but I was working on the notes from the day before, so I'm gonna try not to do that. What else are we gonna do today? We're gonna do outreach. Like I said, content creators, they're a little bit more tolerant, I think, because if they're a younger audience, they're probably not gonna book it 3 weeks in, not in advance, the other way, whatever the word is. So we might get on a meeting today, and we might, or not, I don't think we're gonna close a client today, but it's possible. Definitely gonna book a meeting though, hopefully, if I don't get message ban on my account. Yeah, gonna finish my workout, and then we're gonna head home. We're gonna start doing that, and I don't know if I should start. You know, I'm kind of a quiet talker, I guess. If you ever watch Andrew Tate talk, he's like yelling in his videos, but I think that's a little bit aggressive and disrupting. I don't want to do that in the morning at my place because the guy who lives next to me has a really late shift. I think I said that this morning. And, you know, it's kind of weird talking to yourself, talking to the camera, but it's just something to get used to, I guess. But hopefully you got a little bit of value out of what I just said. Apply it in your own endeavors. And I'm gonna finish my chest workout. I don't know if I should make some TikToks. I kind of want to, but a lot of work. Anyways. Alright, whores. I'm gonna film how to wrap your hands for boxing, so that I have some content for the video. So first thing you're gonna do is unroll them. I like to just throw my wraps. Works pretty well. Okay. We're gonna start with the left because I'm left-hand dominant. I usually put the loop over my thumb to get started. And you want to open up your hand quite a bit so that you make the loop really big. And then I usually wrap this about 4 times. This is important, so now you're going to take this off and you have this bit of protection, right? This is for your knuckles. So I usually grip it with my thumb like this. And then I'm going to do 1 wrap. It's kind of tough to secure it the first time. Wrap it again. Try to get this fairly tight so it doesn't spin. Keep the wraps twisted. Go around the wrist. So now we did 1 full one and then started going around the wrist. Usually go around the wrist 4 times. You want to get this pretty tight because the point of what you're doing is to prevent unwanted wrist movement. So 4 times around the wrist, and then usually go around the thumb once. If you get wraps really tangled up and it's hard to untangle, I usually just do this. You want to kind of throw it in the way that it's tangled. Then 1 more around the wrist, and then once you get around so you get that thumb secured, you want to go up through your pinky finger here, and then go back through around between your thumb and your other finger. Go around your wrist again. When you're coming back up, you want to go through the second one. Come back the same way. Come around the wrist. And then when you go through your last gap here, you want to go the other way around your hand. You go back. Now you're kind of switching directions, and then go around your wrist. Try to get this last few wraps as tight as possible. It will stretch out a tiny bit. And then you're kind of left with this. So you got your knuckles wrapped, you got your thumb wrapped, and then you got a bit of an open palm. So this is kind of a technique that I learned from one of the other guys that boxes. You want to roll this stuff up underneath. It just increases mobility. So if you're doing push-ups and stuff between sets and between hitting, it's a little bit easier to do. Then you got a clean looking wrap. This one wasn't as good as I wanted it to be, but I'll do the other one real quick so you can kind of see. Maybe I missed something. So in order to get the Velcro to go right the way that I wrap, you gotta go the seam on your straps. I have the Everlast straps. The seam's got to go kind of to the inside. So you see how it's on the inside of my palm? So we're gonna open up your hand, right? Wrap it 4 times. You just want to get this bit of padding built up. So you can see. Then I usually grip it like this, pull it off your thumb. Get that little bit of your knuckles. grip it, make sure that it's long enough, because if you didn't spread your fist enough, then it won't be long enough to cover all your knuckles. Then like I said, you want to secure it, so you got to sneak that past your thumb. Once you do that, you're going to do one more like half wrap, I guess, to secure it tighter, and then go around your wrist. Now, I don't know if you know how to stop your wrist from like tangling and folding. It might just be my wraps are too stretched, but I'd love to know, so maybe comment or something. So around the wrist 4 times now. I don't want to go back too far. I want to keep it right on the joint. If you can see, maybe go up a little bit once you get a few joint wraps. Go between the joint and the hand. So this is my last one, number 4. Just so that you don't get that wrist moving, right? You want to protect your wrist as much as possible. And if you ever got to untangle it, I usually just hold it so it's tight. It doesn't matter where it is. And then you can see it's twisting a bit. So I want to go like this, untangle it a bit. Wrap around my thumb, back around the wrist, do one kind of half wrap, and then you're going to take that, when you come around below the thumb, come up through your fingers, this one, through, pass by your thumb again, do another loop, come up through, I don't even know what to call these, your finger gaps, and back through here again, around the wrist. The last one, so your pointer finger, I think, you're gonna go the other way, so back around the back of your hand, and like I said, you're gonna switch direction. This is where you're gonna finish off. You're gonna wrap up the rest of your slack for your wraps, and then try to get this as tight as possible. Now when I throw my wraps, when I unroll them, I usually secure the Velcro just to itself, so it doesn't get stuck on the ground itself when I'm wrapping up. So usually just undo the Velcro like I did it up. It's that simple. And like I said, you're gonna have a little bit of, get that open palm, tuck it in as much as you want for your mobility, and you can move your fingers a bit. Done. So I'm not gonna film my boxing because it looks fucking terrible. I need to work on my form. Like I said, it's just kind of cardio for me, so I'm gonna do that. What I'm gonna do today is I'm gonna hit a bit, break a bit of a sweat, and then kind of split that between my ab workout. So I'll do a bunch of abs and then hit. I'm gonna go back to abs, and it really saves time. Like supersets, whether it's doing chest, like flat bench and then incline bench, you know, I even superset like 4 sets sometimes. People get pissed off at the gym if you take all the machines, but it saves so much time because you're not resting in between. You know, you're working different muscle groups, so you don't have to take a break unless you're absolutely exhausted, which is pretty rare if you're training for strength. So I'm going to finish up my abs, do some cardio. I'm not really a sunset person or whatever, but some people enjoy it. It's another perk of getting up early in the morning, so. Another thing that I want to mention is if you're ever struggling for motivation or you're kind of like in a shitty mood or whatever, music is everything, at least for me. Having really good music helps as well. I'm sort of into, you know, EDM, future house, like dance music. So my Apple Music, if you're looking for some good songs, is in my link tree. If you're looking to find some good new songs and you're kind of, you know, into the same thing, I'd recommend Proximity on YouTube. They post some really good, like, new songs. Proximity, Future House is a really good label. Ophelia, it's a record label that's on Apple Music. They post lots of like melodic dubstep stuff. So EDM, some really good songs on there. Like I said, I have all my playlists in my bio, so if you wanna listen to my music, feel free. I have some really good playlists. If you're not listening to music, like really good music, then you're missing out, so it's probably something you should get into. Monstercat is really good record label too. They have lots of good stuff. So we're going to talk about the importance of warming up. So this kind of applies to just about everything in communication, so business, relationships. It's really important to, if you're in a position where you have to perform really well, something like these videos, I honestly don't talk very much when I'm at home working. So when I get an idea and I go to make a video, I talk really slow. It takes a while to get going. And that's a really big thing is if you're going into a meeting, I find it really, really helpful to, even if it's just getting on a phone with a friend and talking about something you're passionate about, like you can tell I'm on a bit of a roll here. I have, what's the word? Better fluency when you're making sentences and talking a little bit faster. It's just warming up. No, forget about that, I guess. Warming up is super important. Like I said, just, even if you get on a phone with, that would have to be my number one tip for anybody that's struggling with communication and talking to people in meetings. If you're really nervous, just get to warm up somehow. Talk to yourself if that works for you. Get on the phone and, it just really helps. One more thing before I shower. It's something that you guys need to keep in mind is it's okay to take a break. And I don't mean be a bitch. You can't skip the gym for more than one day. Like if you skip the gym for more than one day, it's one, you don't need that much rest, and two, you're probably gonna fall off because you are interrupting your habit. I don't know what the word is for that. But it's okay to take a break. Like I've been working super, pretty much nonstop. I don't think I've even gone on social media for an hour combined over the last 4 days. And obviously I fell behind a little bit with changing things up and sleep, because I've been changing my sleep schedule, but you realize that that's okay. I think 4 days to build an entire foundation for a business that we're gonna build on, and the importance of having that is that confidence, right? Because if you don't have something that, and at least for me, if I don't solidify my product, my price, my description, everything that I need to know, I'm not gonna be confident selling or talking about my product or what I'm trying to sell. So, especially in meetings, somebody brings up a question and you don't know exactly, if they ask, are you gonna do this? What are you gonna do? What happens if this happens? If you don't have that stuff prepared, you're not prepared for the meeting, you're not prepared for questions, you're not prepared to close, you're gonna fail ultimately or decrease your chance of succeeding. So don't be too hard on yourself. Like I said, that's not an excuse to be a bitch. You don't need to be on social media, period. If you need a break, get off your phone and go outside. Go for a walk. Excuse me. Like I said, these are gonna be kind of raw and uncut. This is my life, so keep crushing though. You should be proud of yourself. That's another really big thing. Be proud of yourself, work hard, and just remember that the only person that's gonna make it happen is you. If you're depressed, the only person that's gonna change that is you. If you're broke, the only person that's gonna make you money is you. So don't be a loser and do nothing with your life. Okay? Good talk. Bro. Okay, so I had a fucking heap of shower thoughts. I wrote down everything I want to talk about in the video. So I gotta, holy shit. I gotta take a bit of time and sort through and make some notes, and then I'm gonna go over what I want to talk about, so. So I just about, fuck. Okay, so we kind of felt like throwing up after eating. I guess that's a side effect of not eating very much and working out in the morning. You know, when I do things, I do them to the max, so. So we're having a bit of cheese, make me feel better, so. Yeah. You should eat a fair bit. Don't cut as hard as I am, but whatever, man. Champions meal, old cheddar and hot sauce. It's fucking delicious. The fuck is poppin'? We have a mic now, so I'm hoping the audio quality is gonna be a little bit better. Here's a hard truth. If you got this far and you're not actively trying to improve your life, you're a bitch, okay? It's okay to start slow, but you need to start. Every single one of you has the potential to do anything that you want. If you're not chasing something, you're lost. My intention with this series is to inspire people. You need to work hard, you need to work smart. If you're doing the wrong thing, you're wasting energy. You should fear being average. Do something extraordinary. Dare to Live by Rory Kramer. He's a huge inspiration of mine. I'll put the link in the description. There's a video. You should watch his video. It's kind of a really good image of, you know, what your life could look like. I don't know what he does for a living. He takes musicians and content creators. I think he's officially a photographer for Justin Bieber now, but he takes people on adventures, so whether it's like boating or blowing stuff up. It's a really cool video, but you got to remember, even at your lowest points, something like that is only a few right moves away from becoming a reality. So when it gets tough, you just got to keep pushing. I wanted to add that skipping some of the morning routines is okay. I would still recommend doing the meditation and reading because it'll help you immensely. The gym, without a doubt, will make the biggest difference, along with waking up early. If you're on a roll, like I was this morning, and you want to get some work done, then it's totally okay to do that first. You can always come back to other stuff later. Yeah. One thing I've learned about eating, especially since I've been going to the gym and like bulking and cutting and stuff, is that for me anyways, I either need to be full or starving. There's no in between. Otherwise I get like cravings. So the goal when you're cutting is more so to get comfortable being in that hungry state. Also, if you're not in the place to buy super expensive food or have the time to cook, you're going to have to get comfortable with eating like shit. That's just kind of the reality. Don't get me wrong, buying organic food and cooking everything is the healthiest way to go, but it's very expensive and time consuming. If you don't have money, my best advice is to not cook because it takes so much time. You could be the best cook in the world and making chicken bites would still make you an hour, you know, so, or take you an hour. You know, it's also crazy that Pinty's buffalo chicken wings are actually cheaper by the pound than the raw meat. So that's just an example of how contorted the food market is. It's incredibly hard to live on your own these days. I have extremely cheap rent and my monthly expenses are almost $2,000, so including food and subscriptions, everything I have. I think this challenge has been one of the best decisions I've ever made. I'm also doing this because I think it will incredibly benefit my future. I have a passion for helping people, and this is, I think, a great way to build credibility. You know, if I pull this off, I'm probably going to start like mentoring people and coaching, or maybe make a course on teaching people how to find their purpose and what they can do, you know, to make money with their passion. So, and you can definitely do the same. You know, if you have, let's say you're a mechanic, you can make a video series teaching how to like rebuild an engine, post on Kajabi, market it on TikTok and YouTube. Just post videos with free value and show people that you know what you're talking about. And somebody's going to come along that needs to, that would be interested in buying from you. So I think TikTok Organic is still an incredible tool. Instagram Reels are also performing really well right now. I got over 1,000 views on yesterday's video. I would still recommend using hashtags on Instagram. So you can it's a tool, it's called Display Purposes. You can search for online and it'll just generate really high performing hashtags for your post. And so you can use those. But the biggest thing is just to start getting content out there. So. I just spilled my water everywhere doing that slide. Obstacles, roadblocks. You're always going to face problems. A great example of this is how I failed at starting a social media marketing agency at a very young age. I didn't have anywhere near the sales and communication skills that I needed to close a client. I think even Noah, this is what I was talking about this morning. Like, I didn't warm up for this, so I can't pronounce my words. Even small things like communication, the small things you'll say in sales, even the way you form sentences. So let's say you do outreach, you go to send somebody a message and maybe the way you say it isn't completely correct. Maybe it offends somebody. Not so much offend, but they take it the wrong way, you know what I mean? And they think you're trying to sell them. So it's just little stuff like that that screw you up. There's always going to be missing pieces. So maybe you take a course and you have 95% of the stuff dialed in, but there's going to be that tiny percent, that little missing piece of the puzzle that's going to be a threat to your success and, a bottleneck at best, right? So that's why it's important to diversify your learning, I would say, through reading different sales channels so that you're mitigating the risk of having your one source of information be not incorrect, but not including everything that you need, right? If that makes any sense. So something that you have to realize is that becoming financially free is something that a passion project will rarely accomplish. I have tons of different ideas for companies that I want to start, but they're often very hard to start without capital, right? So don't get me wrong. You can find success doing something that you love, but you probably won't make a ton of money from it starting out. That's why it's better to find something that's in demand and something that people are already accustomed to buying. So a product that everybody has and everybody knows, and have the objective of generating capital first before going after your passion. Vulnerability is important. This is a topic that Abraham Casalis brought up the other day. You should go follow him if you haven't already. The reason I didn't start making content a little bit earlier is kind of twofold. First of all, I've always been a hustler. I bought Tai Lopez's social media marketing course when I was 11 or 12. And I remember it distinctly because I would look through I was a Skidoo fan at the time, so I'd look through the Skidoo catalog that they had, and I wanted it so bad, right? And if you know anything about sledding, like a sled is, buying a new one costs upwards of 20 grand. So turns out I have expensive hobbies, throw dirt biking, mountain biking in the mix. the point is, I've been doing this since I was very young, so don't be hard on yourself, but don't be a bitch. It takes time to build discipline. But back to the point about vulnerability, number one, I wanted to be like super successful first. So I wanted to be kind of that silent type of success where, you know, you work in silence and then out of nowhere I post a video of me getting on a jet kind of thing. So that is just kind of the life that I wanted to live, where it was a big success story and nobody knew about it. But I think honestly, it wasn't worth it. If I started doing this a little bit earlier, it would have benefited me. The second thing was my appearance. Obviously, everybody has insecurities. I didn't think I looked that good in videos. So, you know, at the end of the day, you have to realize that no one cares about what you look like. You really need to say fuck it sometimes and just stop worrying about what other people think. Making content will only benefit you. It's good practice. It's something to look back on. The only detriment really is the time commitment, but I think it's definitely worth it if, you know, it's something that could benefit your future in any way, if it's something you plan to do. So, new topic. Shower thoughts are the epitome of creative thinking. If you're ever stuck or struggling for ideas, I can't think of a better way to fix that than throwing on some music and giving yourself third-degree burns. In case you guys didn't know, I have super incredibly long hot showers, so it's almost like a sauna. If you follow Andrew Tate at all, I'm sure you've heard his opinion on cold showers, and I think it definitely makes a difference for at least a mindset. So I usually have a really hot shower and then finish off with like a few minutes of cold because I'm a G. But when you have a really hot shower, I forget the chemical is called, but it releases some chemical in your brain that makes you feel like shit. But it's necessary, it's important for some reason, so it's supposed to be good for you. But at the same time, you know, you get out of the shower, you feel all groggy and stuff. So I feel like a really cold shower reverses that to an extent, because it gives you a jolt of energy. It kind of wakes you up a little bit. So regardless of whether you believe in cold showers, things like cold showers are what build the small positive habits, right? So it's one of those things. It's kind of like, you know, reading it every day or whatever. If you can do that, then there's going to be things that you don't want to do that you're going to be able to do because you've been building those habits. So, you know, the small habits build momentum, and the momentum will carry you to your goal ultimately. Another thing that I want to talk about is dreams. I don't know what sparked the thought this morning. It was more of like a shower thought, but if you think the shit you experience in your deepest dreams is just a pointless mess of thoughts, I would tell you to think harder. Whatever it means, whether it's symbolic or not, I think everything has a purpose. I don't know, man. The experience people have with psychedelics is extremely fascinating, and I think it's impossible to ignore the coherence between the two. Maybe some sort of like consciousness shift. I don't know. You're technically sleeping, unconscious when you're sleeping, so who knows? I don't know. One thing I recommend to anyone, though, is to listen to music while you're falling asleep. This is something that I've really done, not so much lately, but more when I was a kid, and I contribute a lot of my success, or drive, I should say, to this. You know, you're technically... you're in a state of like semi-consciousness because you're falling asleep, but the music's keeping you awake, and it's kind of like feeding your thoughts in a way, your thought process. I just feel like it's another one of those things that will help you if you're struggling for motivation and drive and discipline. Is the closer, the clearer that you see the end goal, the more motivated, even though motivated isn't the right word,
you're going to be to reach that goal. So think about it, visualize it. You know, every day you're going to get closer if you keep trying. So I'm going to post my full workout split in the notes today in case anyone wants it, because I think if I give you guys something to work on, you're more likely to actually use it. So go to the gym and use my workout split, or I'll come find you again. That TikTok kind of gave off bad vibes, but so as you can see, I changed. Obviously, I decided to go tan because it was really nice outside. So I went to the little lake or whatever they have in Whitecourt, and I tanned for like an hour and a half. And that's okay because I'm still white as fuck, and it helps with definition in the gym, I guess. But like I mentioned, it's important to have a little bit of time to yourself and get out. So that was really good for me. So I was in all day working, and it's also great because I was able to do a lot of the outreach from my phone. I don't know if I talked about this yet, the Instagram messaging. I might have to get to that still. It's in the notes that I did for today. So, but we did some outreach. We sent quite a few messages. I think the biggest thing is, you know, the thing with Instagram and stuff, and it's not really as bad as I made it out to be in the first or second day of notes, because it's still I know people. I know he's a coach. He's from London. He's my mentor for a bit, but he does exclusively outreach on Instagram, and he has over like 100K worth of clients per month, but they're all like 40 grand each. So really, really expensive coaching. He's a lot of money. I've been in a lot of houses that have a lot of money, surprisingly. That's another story for another time, but I used to go door to door trying to sell. It was a project that I was doing in the past, but door to door is one of those things that it's effective to an extent. I guess literally anything is effective when you play the numbers game, but the reality is that whether it's business owners or homeowners, so whether you're doing residential or commercial, these people don't want to talk to you. You know, nobody wants you to show up at their door and try to sell them something. Even if you're not selling, even if you're like, hey, I have this really cool product, would you mind giving me some feedback, check it out, and then if you like it, I actually have a discount for you, whatever you want to say. Nobody is ready for that, right? And that's a thing with booking meetings. When you call, they're a little bit more prepared. They don't have to confront you. There's no confrontation. So you book a meeting, essentially, and then you go in the next day, both of you are prepared, and the conversation has a set purpose, a set time, everything's organized. So it takes a lot of stress. Off both parties, okay? So let me know in the comments if you like this type of video. I'm honestly trying to make things a little bit more information heavy and include more about the challenge and less about like my lifestyle, even though I love doing the gym vlogs and stuff, but that's really not contributing to the progression of this series, this challenge, you know? And don't get me wrong, like I guess yesterday I called it silent progression because I really didn't take any notes because I was doing day 2 notes. I should have been doing day 3. And I didn't film much because I had way too much content the 2 days before. So I was like, I'm not fucking filming anything because I don't have time to do this shit. So honestly, I think this video is going to be fairly long because I went on a hell of a tangent this morning and it was actually pretty good, I think. But we have kind of a solid plan. Obviously, we changed from the web development agency and social media marketing and content creation to specifically an app development agency because higher conversion rate, more, I don't know if it's more demand, but there's way less people that have apps and stuff, right? So I think the opportunity is much higher. So that's we're done switching around, like I said. And this is another thing, another great topic. I might have to stop the video. Okay, the direction you take in life directly influences the ROI of your time. So, if you find something new that's going to increase the rate of your success, then go for it, but just don't switch up too often, because indecisiveness ultimately kills progression. And this has been a huge thing for me in the past. I guess I should have put a little bit of this in the first video when I said I was covering a bit of ground, but two main things in the past that have killed my startups and my ideas is, one, indecisiveness, because I find something better and I jump on it, and then sometimes I realize it's not better because you hit these roadblocks that aren't visible up front, and then you're like, hey, overall this other idea is going to be faster or give me a better ROI on my time. And if you don't know what I'm referring to with ROI on time, I'm talking about the rate at which you're going to make money to time. So maybe you have a smaller product price, but maybe it's going to sell way faster. So in this certain time period, you're going to reach your immediate profit potential is going to be much higher. So like I said, the one thing that was limiting me in the past was indecisiveness, and the second thing was capital bottlenecking, because the reality is with most product-based businesses, so Shopify stores, e-commerce stores, drop shipping stores, print-on-demand stores, everything you need a bit of startup costs. I would say to be comfortable launching a personal brand, you need at least $500 to $1,000, because even if you don't have to buy products, even if you can somehow market it really well that you don't even need to buy a product and take a picture of it, and you can just post mock-ups or whatever the deal is, you still need to test your advertising, and you can't test on less than $100. So if you're not familiar with ad testing, you got to test different targeting groups. I don't want to get into that because this is a little bit too comprehensive, I think, for my audience. Don't take that the wrong way, but you guys aren't advertising professionals. So, like I said, so let me know in the comments if you like this type of video. I would love hearing from you guys, especially as like early supporters, before hundreds of thousands of people see this video. You can have bragging rights of commenting when it was posted. But I might even start putting like music and stuff in my videos. I'm not too worried about copyright issues because I'm too lazy to edit out the stuff at the gym, and they always play music there, so all my videos are getting demonetized anyways, unfortunately. But like I said, I'm not really focused on making money off of this series. It's more of just documenting things and helping other people. I'm trying to provide as much free value as possible. I think I definitely came through this video, but it really comes back to balance, right? Because you gotta enjoy the moment while it's here, because it'll be gone in an instant. So I'm gonna try and put a little bit more time into the videos, even though I said I wasn't going to. The content's gonna be like quality content though. It's not just bullshit gym stuff. I don't know. I don't think it needs a lot of editing. I think it's good the way it is, but like I said, I think this is something that's going to benefit me, so I'm going to put a little bit more effort in. Oh, and for those of you that think you have bad genetics or not enough money or not enough time, you just have no discipline. The only thing it takes to succeed is ambition. I want to talk about... I don't know if I do. No, we're going to save that for another time. Maybe like day 100 or something. And one more time, because most of you people these days have the attention span of a mango. Read the notes, okay? I'm putting so much time and value into these notes. Like, that's what I spent the entire day yesterday pretty much doing. And it's obviously like something for me. It's a framework for what I'm doing. But this is literally a blueprint for you to copy and paste in your own life. So if you're not doing something, come on, bro, you can do better. Nobody in my DMs yet, so unfortunately, nobody has proved me wrong. But whatever. I like pressure. I like doing this stuff. Not many people do. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is go over day 4 notes. Because I feel like it. We'll do the other ones after, I guess. But something I want to talk about. I have some unique. Go ahead. Bruh. This is something though, so I used to have a really hard time getting out of bed. So I put these up here, and it's just sort of things so that I wake up, I look at the roof, and it's just kind of reminds me that of my purpose. So back to the notes, we have the title of the video. And then this is obviously the app development and not the web development. Put a little bit of a note so you can understand. And then, like I said, you guys can read this. I'm not going to read it all out. This is just sort of a simple script that engages the other person. And then I also put my workouts. Like I was talking about, I have a full thing of workouts for whoever wants to work out. I better see you in the gym. This is day 1, so the introduction. I wanted to make the first video kind of dramatic, so it was scripted. I guess that's a transcript for you. A little bit of motivation, I guess. Then this is a little bit more motivation about how long it takes to actually compound $100 into $1 million. And then the next, I scrolled way too far. Developing a model. So this is developing a business model, or more, I guess it's more of a model for the challenge that I'm doing. So, but it can also help you if you're trying to build your own business, because it has, depending on the budget, what you should do. These are kind of the most optimal business frameworks to use to go into starting. So, like I said, not going to read this. It's very, I would say, useful. Formulating the idea. So this is how to find the idea of what you want to do. You're going to try and find the highest income skill that you have. And then, so the first thing would be your strengths, right? You got to find your skill. The second thing is reach. How are you going to reach your ideal customer, your prospect? So you got a bunch of different methods. Like I said, in most cases, cold calling is going to be the most effective. The only alternative I would say that's really realistic, that's free, is social media. Unless you're really good at networking stuff, you can kind of focus on partnerships. Then your weaknesses, because the plan for day 2 was to learn as much as possible so we can prepare. So those are the skills that I was talking about. So those things that you're not really good at that you need to have to be able to succeed. Like I said, everything's going to help. You're better off to learn a little bit first and then learn through experience after than do the opposite, because then you're backtracking. Okay, second day, foundations. So you had a bit of goals. This is pretty much everything that you need to set up a social media marketing business and many others. It's a very universal framework. So I talk about logo and branding. This is pretty self-explanatory. You want to make a logo to brand yourself. Stripe setup. I don't know if I should show you. I'm going to show you, I guess. So Stripe, this is their homepage. you're going to create an account, set up everything I talked about in there, and you're going to set up your products at the top. So I already have 4 set up. You can see creative development, for example. This was what I would be doing for the website. You have a description, you have an image, you have a title. Those are the most basic forms, and you're going to add prices. These are a little bit more confusing to set up. You're going to add a price. You're probably going to see something very similar to this when you create the product. You can select, I think it's always going to be standard pricing. This is important, so recurring or one time. One time is going to be obviously a one-time purchase. Recurring is subscription. So depending on what your service is and how you want to bill it, that's what you're going to select. And that's pretty simple. And then ultimately, you're going to have multiple different prices. You can always add later, and you can actually add custom prices when you invoice. So you can go to more invoicing and create invoices with custom prices. Now, if you don't need a custom price and you just want to charge a customer the easy way with a link, ideally what you do is you go to the corresponding price, you create a payment link. I'll just create it real quick here. So we have the payment link. And you're going to send this link to your client. And it's very self-explanatory. So you got the price. I think you can customize a little bit too. They enter their information and pay. If it's a subscription, you'll have a little note saying this is a recurring purchase. Very simple stuff. So the only other thing that I'd recommend for Stripe, I'm just going to show you because you might not know where to find it. Subscriptions is here. Settings, you're going to go to settings, and then the only things you need to go through, I go through each of these links and just configure. So I just clicked on account details. It showed my address. I'm probably not going to put that in because that's where my parents live. Go through that stuff. That's all you need to know for Stripe. CRM. So if you're working with a large number of leads and doing cold calling, typically with social media outreach, so if I'm sending messages, I will not create a CRM because ultimately all your contacts are in your DMs, right? So it keeps it somewhat organized. I put them in general, so you can move them to your general tab of Instagram, and it makes it a lot easier to manage from your personal connections to business outreach. And you can select them all at once and do that. But CRM, if you are cold calling and you would like to use a CRM, this is my tried and tested CRM template. So it's a Google Sheet. You're gonna have a company name, niche. So if you don't know what niche is, it's the industry that the company is in, the website, location, first, last name, email, phone, and then closed. So closed, if you know anything about sales, an open lead is somebody that's still not sold, but can be sold. If they can't be sold, they're closed. So if they're a cold lead and they're not going to buy from you, they're closed. So ultimately, if you get a no from them or whatever, I would check this box. Or if they're a current customer, you might as well check the box because they don't need to be reached out to. Touched. This is kind of like I should have a date here as well, the first date, but it really doesn't matter, honestly. But this is the last time that you're in contact with them. So if you reach out on Thursday or whatever, you are going to keep track of that so that if they say to call back in 2 days, or you called and you're going to try calling them back again in 2 days, you're going to want to keep track of this date, right? So that's important. That's your last touch, the last point of contact. Status is basically the progress of you closing them. So whether it's a meeting set or contract sent, so now obviously you have notes, self-explanatory. Moving on to Calendly, free appointment scheduling software. This is really important for keeping track of your meetings and sending meeting invites. You're going to go through the steps just so you're familiar with it. I have multiple other events, but you're going to create an event. This is an example event that I already have. Go through each of these panels and set things up how you like. And then like this is a great example. So my marketing company is called Split Designs, and I just call it a strategy session. So you're gonna view, or I'm gonna view the booking page. This is what it looks like to the customer when you send them the link, or the client, I should say. So I haven't updated this yet. This is really, really old, but the focus of this call is to evaluate the current state of your business, discuss long-term goals, and develop a solution to get you there. So very basic, right? And another thing I wanted to add is when you do the questions, and you can add questions in the configuration, don't overdo it. Don't put like 11 questions, because clients are gonna get overwhelmed and they're gonna totally abandon the booking process and probably never talk to you again. So I'd say even this is more than enough. You could get rid of the reason for scheduling if you really want to make it streamlined, but I like to have this. So it's kind of like that question. If you've read anything about marketing, you've heard people say that, you get to the meeting and you ask the client, why did you invite me today? And this is a deep level question, and it's not to be cocky or anything. Well, you are establishing dominance, but the most important thing is when you called them and you arranged the meeting, you came forward with a value proposition. So you need to figure out what that means to the company, whether they're losing sales and they actually need help. Maybe they're just giving you a chance, but that's why you ask, why did you invite me? And this is essentially the same as that in a way, if they answer the question accurately. HelloSign. This is a digital document sending and signing software. So you're going to upload your documents to this website and then send them for a request for signature to the client. This will be done after the meeting, after you close the client. Don't worry about this now, because honestly, you could have a universal contract. I think I've had those in the past, but you can also do a very basic one where you write out the customer's needs on a piece of paper, translate it into text, and then get their signature on it, and then upload it to HelloSign, or you could get their signature once you do that, whatever the case is. But that's what that is. Product packages. So this is obviously not the app development, but the website development agency that I was planning on creating, but I decided to make a business decision so that I switch to something more effective now instead of changing in 10 days, because this wasn't as successful as I wanted to be. Obviously, the other one might not be successful, but we got to test it, right? So product packages, you can read this. I have some packages. It's just a title and description. This is more of a marketing side of things. It's not super specific, so you don't need to add all the details. That can be in the contract. Pricing model, self-explanatory. This is how I price. Everything is very industry specific and accurate, I would say. These aren't expensive prices. This is bare minimum. This is what you would pay somebody to work at. The lowest price for a website is the same that somebody at Starbucks would be paid per month, right? So maybe you're not comfortable charging that. It's up to you, but that's what the going rate is, and that's what you should be charging, minimum. It's always good to have, payment plans aren't necessary. Nobody really uses those if they have money. A guarantee, if people are guaranteed success, which you can say you guarantee it, and then I wouldn't say don't guarantee it, but you can always fix things, you know what I mean? So if you guarantee it and it doesn't work out, just make it work out. Just fucking fix it. It's that simple. And then the outreach script. This is very detailed. I was very passionate when I was writing this, but it turns out we're not going to be reading this or writing this or using this because I've moved on to something else, which is okay. Obviously, you're not going to memorize this. Scripts are not meant to be memorized. If you memorize scripts, they're going to fail you because you're going to come across with the wrong intention. People are going to subconsciously pick up on the fact that you are trying to sell them because you have no emotion in your voice, because you're reading memorized dialogue from memory. So what you do you get a very good understanding of the script, of the concepts, and then what I usually do is I condense it into a few keywords or sentences, like 2 to 3 words that remind me of the entire topic, and I can recall the entire thing. So maybe introduce yourself. That's very self-explanatory. Create tension. So if you read this, you'd remember that we talked about bringing up something controversial. So moving on, meeting structure. This is everything about a meeting. The questions that you'd ask, how you build up tension and you attach the client emotionally to their desired situation so that they are more likely to buy, because sales is a psychological game, and when people make logical decisions, sometimes they aren't the smartest. Maybe he's thinking about, what if his dog dies, maybe he needs to pay the vet bill. But if you emotionally attach him to this business succeeding and he's thinking, wow, this is gonna make me so much money, he's gonna be like, fuck the dog, you can always pay for the dog after. So that's kind of why you want to do that. That's it for day 2, I think. Thank God. Day 3, very short, like I said, because I was working on day 2 notes. To be honest, I'm probably not going to be reading through the notes every time I make notes, just because these ones were very important and quite a bit longer. And I had some websites and stuff to show so that people know how to set things up. You're welcome, by the way. But they're all in the description, so you can go read them. So I think that's just about it. Tomorrow's gonna be a little bit different because my mom is coming from Westlock. She's giving me a ride to the city. I have to go for neurologist appointment. I've been having some issues with exertional headaches and stuff, to the point of passing out, and not good. But we're gonna be doing that tomorrow, so you might meet my mom. And then after that, I'm gonna stay at their place, and then we're going hiking for a couple days in BC. I'm going up with my uncle, and me camping over or whatever, so you're probably not going to get updates for a few days because I'm out of service. But I'm not going to quit the challenge by any means. I'm still going to be working on my time that I have. I am also not going to skip any days, so I'm going to be losing 2-3 days because I'm out hiking 30 kilometers up a peak of a mountain. But I'm not worried about it because I make things happen, and I'm probably gonna get a meeting booked over the weekend. If I don't get a meeting booked by the time I get back from that trip, I think there's a little bit of a concern. I might have to switch up the strategy. Numbers game. It's always a numbers game. Everything is a numbers game, but if your numbers game is going to take you 3 years, and if your numbers game isn't working, you should probably change something. So I hope you enjoyed this episode of what was on my mind and everything that I wrote down in the last few days. I kind of want to keep this momentum because this is the kind of video that I want to create. Very informational for those of you who want the information. And if you're actively consuming it, I'm proud of you. If you're doing it for entertainment purposes, subscribe. I appreciate you watching, I guess. Subscribe and comment, because I need those comments too. I want to hear from you guys. But it is 9 o'clock. I think I'm going to call it a day. Send a couple more messages before I go to sleep. I don't know. It's interesting to do like day parting, whether it's advertising or messages. Some people respond in the morning, some people don't. So it all depends on people's lifestyle, and usually you don't want to do it during the night, because if people wake up to a message, they're more likely to respond if they're already on their phone and they get the message than just waking up to something on their phone. So we're probably not going to send anything past like 10 p.m.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that's enough because I gotta edit. I have to edit this shit, and this one's gonna be pretty long. Hope you enjoyed the time lapse yesterday too, because I've been saying that for a few days. I haven't done it. Oh, one other thing I kind of wanted to mention is I do most of my work from my bed. I guess like 50% because this chair, I'm gonna show you this chair actually. This is the most uncomfortable chair I think I've ever experienced sitting in. So I actually have all of my jacket and hoodies wrapped around the back for a little bit of back support, but you sit in this thing for 5 minutes and you feel like dying. So I usually just sit somewhere and do my work. I like to sit at the desk, but sometimes I can't. So, oh, last thing here. So, looks like we're finally gonna be caught up on videos. Hopefully you guys like this one. Get a mechanical keyboard. This shit is the most satisfying and it's way easier on your fingers too. Oh, I guess I'm typing.